Hi everyone, and welcome to your weekly woo, and what a powerful week we have ahead. This may be the most intense cosmic weather we've had all year, and it has been a year of, storms basically as far as cosmic weather is concerned. So we start off the week with a solar eclipse. This is happening on Monday and Tuesday. Wherever you are in the world, it's going to be different, the timing. This is a south node eclipse, which means something is leaving so something new can come in. This eclipse has a really powerful energy around Mercury and Mars. So our communication, what we're communicating about, is going to be supported and influenced by this energy of Mars. But here's the thing, Mars has been retrograde and this year and in the sign of Aries, which is it's been debilitated for most of the year, and we're only just now gaining that momentum. So even though you may have this impulse to start new and make huge changes, it's not really the best time to do so, but we're going to feel that urge and we're going to want to talk about it. This can also talk about, conflicts coming up where we feel like we have to do something, we have to say something. And in truth, it may be a better time to pause, because we also have this incredible Saturn-Jupiter conjunction in Aquarius, and this happens on the winter solstice, the 21st. So the fact that this new beginning is happening after the solar eclipse, it tells me we need to gather the information that the eclipse is going to be bringing us. This eclipse is in the sign of Sagittarius, which is all about the truth, but it's going to be squaring, it has a difficult relationship with Neptune, which means that lies can be revealed. We could also be in denial ourselves. There's just a bit of fog to this, which is why I say don't take action just yet. Sort of take notes on how you want to take action, but pause, because more information is going to be revealed. Also, when Neptune is squaring such a dynamic eclipse like this, it tells me that our best course of action, because Neptune is all about our connection to the divine, our connection to Creator, our connection to our highest self, and how we listen, it suggests that it's better for us to let go and let the universe take the action. So whenever we're in eclipse season, that's, in my opinion, that's the way to roll anyway. That eclipse season is not a time for us to be making big changes. It's a time for us to let go, surrender, and allow the universe to redirect our course, to put us back on the path that is aligned with our highest purpose. And how do we do that, right? I have clients who ask, well, Lynn, how do we do that? How do we know? And it's a very simple prayer. You ask that you be aligned with the highest vibrational energies of the current cosmic weather, and that all changes that are coming into your life, that they will be able to benefit you, but not only that you'll be able to see how they benefit you, because it's all about how we perceive the change. And it's interesting, this is really coming up with this eclipse, because this eclipse in the sign of Sagittarius is about what we believe. It's about our philosophy. And we have more eclipses in Sagittarius in 2021 and in its opposite side of Gemini. This really shows us where we are to behold a new way of believing. And when the North Node, which is where we're to be focusing, where we are to implement change, and it's in the sign of Gemini, which is duality, being able to hold two perspectives. So if you're in conflict, which based on all of this Mars energy, many of us could be, whether that's an internal conflict, not being able to make a decision about which path to take, or whether that's in conflict with others outside of you, the message is to let go of the beliefs that are holding you in rigidity, that are holding you back from being able to see someone else's perspective. Because Gemini says to us, their perspective is just as valid as yours. You don't necessarily have to agree with their truth, but you do have to respect it. And as we evolve as a species, as we're going through the photon belt, and as the sun is having these enormous storms which are going to be bathing us in photonic light, our ability to recognize other people's truth as being just as important and valid as ours is definitely the direction we're headed. This Saturn Jupiter conjunction in Aquarius also heralds a new moonish energy around our ability to hold the collective and create equality and really work for each other rather than for ourselves. So very powerful, because at the end of the week, then we have the Sun and Mercury conjuncting each other. And this is powerful because our belief of our opinion and our stance is going to be ever so much more clear to us, and so will other people's belief about theirs. So we really want to take this beginning of the week, this eclipse, to open our mind to a new way of seeing opposition and asking the question, yes, okay, I may not totally agree with this person, but what is their truth, or what is their opinion? What is the lesson in it for me, and what could it possibly teach me? This ability to keep an open mind, but also hold your center and hold your ground. So it's interesting, this eclipse is conjunct an asteroid Hatshepsut, which Hatshepsut, Gesundheit, was a queen in ancient Egypt, but she was actually a king, meaning she lived in disguise, basically her whole public life. And yet she was a woman who had children and behind closed doors lived as a woman. So there's something about this duality going on about, what are we projecting and what are we internally? And are those things congruent and cohesive? And if they're not, what is that like for us? Is that creating a certain kind of stress, right? This ability, are you willing, do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? That's another great idea to be ruminating on with this eclipse and this week. Now, the Saturn-Jupiter conjunction is in the sign of Aquarius that hasn't happened since 1226. That was in the Middle Ages, and 84 years later, the Renaissance began. So if you're into astrology and you've been following this, a lot of people are like, this is the age of Aquarius and it's coming and it's coming. What I would say is, yes, it's coming, but the seeds are being planted now. So just like when you're planting a garden, you plant the seeds, you don't automatically see the leaves, the buds, the flowers. That takes time. So I just want to caution everybody where we think, there's a lot of information going around like this is going to be this amazing. It's going to start internally first, and it'll be underground first. And then we'll start seeing the shoots as years go on, this new energy. And Saturn is also, it is the planet of restriction and where we have to be mature. So there is also an element where, what Aquarius represents is the collective and groups, technology, and this ability to see the all that is rather than the me. And because Saturn is placed in the sign now as it's leaving Capricorn, it could mean that we're still going to be seeing restrictions around group activities. And yet, with Jupiter there, it says that the technology is going to be there, that even though we may have physical restrictions, the technology is going to be there to support us connecting no matter what. So again, even with this eclipse energy, something's taken and something's given. We may still have restrictions around meeting in groups physically that may be still taken away from us, but the technology is going to be there to support a new way of connecting. So let's look at the cards. We have two crystals this week. Black obsidian, which in this deck is aligned with the goddess Kali. And Kali is the Hindu goddess of, it says sacred revolution, but Kali is the great destroyer. And she destroys the ego. She destroys that which would get in the way of you being on your highest path, you connecting with your highest self, and destroys that which would harm that which is innocent, be that your inner child or, women, children, elderly. But this card in this deck talks about the overcoming of fear and worry. And this is where we can call on this archetype of Kali to help us overcome our own fears. And this idea with this eclipse, can you look at your fears, ask what they're here to teach you, and not hold on to them in a way that is going to hinder what you believe for your future. This is like revolutionary energy around being so clear about what holds you back and not blaming it on anything outside of yourself. That sacred revolution within and letting the fears go. So with the South Node eclipse, it's not a time to, in my opinion, do magic about planting seeds, because the South Node is where we release, and that's where the sun and moon are. So this is more a new moon where we want to shed and get rid of that which is stopping us from creating the vision of what we truly want. Excuse me. And oftentimes, that's fear and self-doubt. So with black obsidian, it's interesting when you have it. Let me show you my obsidian crystal ball. This shows you, when you work with a crystal like this, when you work with the darker colored crystals, it allows you to recognize the parts of yourself that are holding you back. So it becomes a mirror of what we would call, the darker emotions, our shadow, right? The hatred or the desires for revenge or the shame and the guilt. So this eclipse is really showing us where fear, anger, hatred, desire for revenge, desire to be right, desire to win is getting in the way of the higher vibrational thoughts that are going to align us with this future, this Aquarian future of kinship, friendship, community, utopia, right? But first we got to clean it out, because you don't want to bring all that past hurt and pain into, this new phase that's beginning on the winter solstice. Now, the other thing about this Saturn-Jupiter conjunction is it is beginning on the solstice. The solstice is all about the return to the light. So the fact that it's happening on that day actually is a force. It's a foreseer of it being a really positive move, that the movement is going to be really positive. It will be filled with light. It will be good for us. If it was on a different day or a different cross-quarter holiday, it may be a different outcome. But because the solstice is all about the light returning, right? The solstice is where we start celebrating that the days will be getting longer again. There will be more light to access. Then it means that this Saturn-Pluto conjunction is heralding a time of wonder, of goodness. It's just going to take some time as we work on it. All good things take hard work and time. Now, our second card was Astrophyllite. Also, daring rebirth. And a very similar archetype, the goddess Ishtar, who was also, in many ways, in Babylonian sort of war and love goddess at the same time. She was called upon during war and called upon for love. So here we have this duality, but we definitely have an invitation for rebirth and re-revolution. Rebirth, revolution, we're redoing it internally first. That's what this eclipse is all about. Now, when we have an eclipse, a solar eclipse, this is where the sun and the moon meet, but the sun is being eclipsed by the moon. So the light right? The light of the sun is being eclipsed. And that means that our energy may be low, or our vision, our ability to see what we're supposed to do may be hidden and obscured, especially because we have this Neptune. And this really, where's our other card? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. We got turtle, sea turtle. So this is about slowing down, right? The turtle is always our cue whenever we're working with turtle as totem, as guide. It is stop and breathe and observe. So I'm going to read, first of all, I want you to see this because I have had the glorious experience of swimming with these creatures, and their energy is so powerful and wise and a little bit cheeky. So this says, you are master of finding life's flow. Be in harmony with the rhythm and your path will unfold. Persevere and you will succeed. You have everything you need to be protected and happy. In these times of uncertainty where we're all being forced to relinquish knowing what is to come. You know, that's the thing about being in eclipse zones and eclipse cycles and these ever-changing times that we're in. We just don't know what's going to happen in the future. And we are being called to be so adaptable and so emotionally stable to really be able to dodge and catch whatever is coming our way. This is really another sign to, as I've been talking about in each of these weekly woos for the last month and a half, to just surrender. You know, say the prayer to align with your highest good and your highest self, and then let go. Take a break. Because even if you think you're right, more information is going to be coming. And most importantly, what feels right now may not be right in the future. And it's okay to change your mind. It's okay. Changing your mind doesn't make you wrong. It just makes you flexible. And I feel like that's what we're being called to be in every area of our life. Now, our plant ally this week is sycamore. Sycamore's key word is subconscious. So very much aligned with these two other cards of Astrophyllite and Black Obsidian. Because when an eclipse is all about our conscious and our subconscious meeting, coming together, right? That's what this solar eclipse is about. The moon and the sun, the moon being our subconscious, the sun being our conscious, coming together to meld, to mold. And more than ever, what I've learned this year as I've been working with practitioners is how important getting your subconscious on board is. It controls everything, right? It's like if you think about the ocean, the conscious is like the surface only. And everything else is the subconscious, and that is what is creating the waves. That is what is creating the weather patterns. And so this eclipse gives us a chance to see what is our subconscious creating, because the events around this time are a mirror to what is going on within you. Be that the circumstances, the people, the political arena, the global arena, all of it. It's all a mirror of what's actually going on inside of you. And that's what eclipses reveal. They show you what you're believing about your life, because it's going to give you those circumstances that you're believing. So with this eclipse, being in being in the sign of Sagittarius, we just had the lunar eclipse in Gemini, which prepared us to see, okay, what have we been creating based on our beliefs, based on what our subconscious believes. And now we're seeing it so that we can go, I need to do some work on my subconscious. And the way that we do that is through hypnotherapy, through EFT, which is the tapping techniques, through a technique called Psych K, which is all about aligning these areas of conscious and subconscious. So the mirror of your outside world is actually a reflection of what's going on within. And that means that every person in your life is a reflection of an aspect of yourself. This is sometimes a hard nut to swallow, but my God, if you can change your world and create the life you want, truly. So the sycamore also is pointing us to our dreams. What are your dreams telling you? Because through eclipse seasons and cycles, when we're in it deep like this, our subconscious is going to be giving us all sorts of dreams because it's trying to purge itself. It's trying to release. It's trying to clear out so that these new paths can come in. So your subconscious in some ways is very much aligned with your higher self. In some ways it is your higher self, but it can also be redirected. And this is where this inner soul spiritual work is so important. To really look at the blocks that you're not seeing, that which we don't want to see about ourselves, and to actually look at it so you can change it. And so again, if you need help doing that, reach out to people, healers, therapists, readers, whatever it is, your priests, your pastors, your friends. Reach out if you need help, because your shadow may be coming up and you want to make some changes and you don't know how. And of course you can reach out to me. I don't have very much availability in December or January, but there's some slots available, and I do try to make time for people who reach out. You can email me at info@thegoodwoo.org, or you can look at the services tab on the goodwoo.org website. You can also DM me, message me, whatever you need. I'm definitely here to take questions and help you guys with this essential part of manifesting the life that you want, and that's getting the subconscious on board. So, Sacred Revolution. This week, a revolution is never easy, right? It isn't. It is work, and you have to push against. All revolution is about pushing against some sort of old system or order. And we could look at this with politics or whatever's going on socially in the world right now, but I want you guys to take this as what is going on within you. Where are you being rebirthed? Where are you having a revolution against the way you believed and those beliefs holding you back? Remember who you are. You are a soul, a spirit, a divine light being, having a human experience because you wanted to, because you stood in line, because you knew you could do something great here and expand your very essence through the challenges, through the beautiful times. Where can you reclaim that? And what do you need to change to do so? When we look deeply at ourselves, the only thing that can come out of it is good. To truly know yourself, your weaknesses, your strengths, to be able to say, I'm sorry, oh, I've changed my mind. I let go. I surrender. That's true power. So I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful week. It is a thick one, and it has so much to offer if you're brave and you stand in your truth and you keep an open mind. Because for every human being on this planet, there is a reality that is true for them, and we have to respect that with each other. Thank you so much for viewing.